At 6 o'clock, I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Bandera on Thursday, September 3rd, 2020 at 6 p.m. All council members are present. The city secretary is present. City marshal is present. City administrator is present, and our city treasurer is present. Item 2 is visitors to be heard. I want to read this to you so that you'll understand the process in the future. Please sign up to speak during visitors to be heard by emailing the city secretary at citysecretary@cityofbandera.org, your name and/or a number you will be calling from at least 1 hour prior to the meeting so that she may locate you when you log in to the Zoom meeting or call into the meeting. Oh, log in or call in. Okay. You may also email comments to the city secretary to be read during visitors to be heard. Comments must be received at least 1 hour prior to the meeting. Please note that the city secretary will not read comments aloud that are believed to be in violation of the meeting rules of decorum. So for the next meeting, which will be on the 10th, keep that in mind. That will be a workshop, I believe. Okay. Item 3 is the consent agenda. Approval of minutes from the August 6, 2020 regular meeting, the August 11, 2020 special meeting, and the August 20, 2020 regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Rebecca makes a motion to approve. Jerry seconds. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you, council. Item 4 is the regular agenda. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Item A is approval of a street closure request by James Vergodi of 11th Street Cowboy Bar for 11th Street between Cypress and Cedar Streets on Friday, October 2nd, 2020 at 11 p.m. until Sunday, October 4th, 2020 at 6 a.m. for pedestrian and event safety with additional bike parking during the 16th annual Rumble on 11th Street Bike Rally and the Frogs for Freedom 13th annual nonprofit fundraiser for the U.S. Navy SEALs.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Item B, set compensation for mayor and city council members for the fiscal year 2020 and 2021. Currently, the mayor makes $60 a month plus $10 a meeting, and council members make $10 a meeting.
Move to uphold the current rate,
I'll second the motion.
compensation rate.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Presentation by LNV and discussion of the contract of year 1 of the street improvements project. Is Derek on there?
Yes. Hi, Derek.
How you doing? Y'all hear me good? I'm getting a little jump on my end, so I hope I got a good, clean connection.
We can hear you good, Derek.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we presented our street maintenance study to council, and we're here today to, we have a proposal there for phase services for what we had recommended in that plan for year 1, which is rehab, some rehab streets. We have agenda packet, and the fee for design fee for that is $44,100. Service of $4,800 for geotechnical, which is basically consists of whenever we do these to see, verify what type of base material and thicknesses of base that we have out, and rehab plans that include ACP surfacing, that we have everything we need and we understand and we also get payment recommendations as far as what type of percentage of cement to add to that. You should have the map and everything in your packet, and I guess if there's any questions or anything else additional that y'all like to include at this time, I'd be glad to answer questions or add on to.
Yeah, it's his internet, y'all. He's cutting out. So if you have questions, go ahead and move forward with your questions and he can try to answer them. Derek, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Did y'all, hopefully y'all got all of that.
Jerry?
Maybe I didn't hear it, but how soon is this going to begin? How soon will
Contract.
it begin?
If council approves this contract amount for immediately upon getting a signed contract, which probably wouldn't take us more than a couple of days, probably geotech going, and we have some field survey information that we'll have to do too, so we'd begin that right away. And we'd work to wrap up the design of this and plans and construction documents, October time frame. And then we'd have a package that's ready to bid. We could go into the bid phase from there.
Derek, can you repeat
Probably,
when you could start it? You said immediately, but before you would actually get started after the design and that phase, you cut out right there.
okay. I'm gonna stop my video and see if it has better on audio. But yeah, if council approves tonight, we could begin right away once we get a contract signed, get processed early next week, and we begin right away thereafter.
It is better now, Derek, with just the audio.
Okay.
And that portion of it, how long will that take?
I'm sorry, I lost that.
It's okay. That portion of what we're discussing, how long will it take? Once you get started?
I'm sorry,
How long will that portion of the project take, Derek?
say that again?
How long will that portion take that they're approving in this contract for completion?
Basically, if we began in the geotechnical pavement core portion of that and some field survey data that we need to pick up, and of September and begin design, and we could wrap up the design and construction documents in late October, or like the last week of
Late October?
yes.
Yes, Jerry.
What occurs after that? What would occur next and how long would that take?
Yeah.
I'm trying to just get a time frame on getting the whole thing going, actually in process.
Yeah. I apologize for the bad connection here, but I find the question, we basically do design phase through like the first week of November. We would go into, and then you have a third week where you bid it. So because we'd be running into Thanksgiving time frame, probably would try December, I would say. And then once we receive the bids, a month or so to get contracts executed, and we'd be beginning construction early January.
Okay, thank you.
Hope you got that.
Construction beginning early January.
Yes, thank you very much.
Any other questions, council? Okay, Derek, thank you. Ready to move on now.
Thank you, Derek.
All right,
Does this contract require approval?
that's
Motion.
what item D, item D is authorize the city administrator to
Oh,
enter into a contract with LNB for 1 year of the street improvement project.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city administrator to enter into the contract with LNB for 1 year of the street improvement project.
And Rebecca seconds. Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you, council. I'm so glad we're getting this moving. Item E is approval of ordinance 378, amending chapter 6, health and sanitation by adding article 6.04, solid waste. Jay, do you want to explain what went on with this?
Well, a lot went wrong with it, but basically what we've done is we've gone through, redone a bunch of it where hopefully it fits Bandera and not just a general ordinance. You can see some things that have been, we strike through like recyclable material, because that, we can always amend this to add recycling if we need to, for example, and on one other place in here, we have where it's basically, it's not as tight as it was as far as, let's just use Rebecca, for example, if she does not use one bag of garbage in 2 months, you know, she has that option that she does not have to be part of that and does not have to take that, but she does have to take, if she does choose to do solid waste, it has to be with whoever the vendor is. It can't be XYZ company when our vendor is ABC company. But for the most part, it's a pretty basic ordinance. It's just, we've never had one. And as Derek has said before, we definitely need one before we go into contract with any vendor as far as solid waste. One thing that we are going to also look at, this will, and I do not remember all the wording in here, but commercial recycling, stuff like that, that has been stricken through because we can always, like I say, we can address this at a later date if we want to go with commercial recycling. A lot of places now we have found out what they call e-waste, like if you're dumping computers, things like that. A lot of these vendors will not pick it up curbside. It has to be at a special drop-off point. A lot of landfills will not take it as they would before. It has to be prearranged and a fee would have to be paid. So a lot of stuff like that has been addressed.
Jay, did you not also mention to me that some of the companies that have received the RFPs were hesitant to answer until we had a solid waste ordinance in place?
Yes, they all pretty much asked about an ordinance in place. And it covers them just as much as it covers us also.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Question?
getting those edits done. And for the piece about not requiring that people subscribe to the service. Now, is that for residential and commercial?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, go ahead.
Or discussion?
No.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Approval of ordinance 378, amending chapter 6, health and sanitation by adding article 6.04, solid waste.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you, council. Item F, removal of members of the Board of Directors of the Bandera Economic Development Corporation. Yes, Jerry.
I make a motion to table that.
Okay. For what reason?
So we have more time to give the new board members a chance to do their job.
Thank you.
I'll second his motion.
Do we have a date
Thank you,
that you
Don.
want to read?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I should have looked over the dates at EDC's meeting. Our next meeting is, a regular meeting would be
September 17th.
17th,
They normally have one.
and the next meeting after that is when? You know,
The first week of October.
The regular meeting, yeah.
okay. That's
October
the
1st.
date I'd like to table that till.
Well, you can't table it till the 3rd. You can postpone it,
Okay,
then it comes up. Tabling would be the next agenda.
yeah, the next, okay, sure. Thanks for the education.
Thank you. Postpone. Do I still have a second? Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. All right, item G, appointment of members to the Board of Director of the Bandera Economic Development Corporation. Jerry,
I'd like to make a motion to postpone that until that second meeting, the first week in October.
October 3rd.
October.
First.
The first, is it the first?
Mhm.
Okay. First.
Till October 1st.
Well, we know it's the first Thursday, whatever it is.
To give the city more time to accept applications.
Thank you. Don, you second?
I believe we have. Rebecca.
I did.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, Rebecca, I was listening to the reasoning here. Any further discussion on this? I have something I would like to say, though. I really think that we need to move forward, let the EDC work for a while and see how it goes. Thank you. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Item H is determine the terms of the newly appointed directors of the Bandera Bandera Economic Development Corporation. I went to our city website and Deanna and I, our terms expired 5/31 of 2021. When we made the nomination to Rebecca, Laura, and Jerry, we didn't say to fill the unexpired term of somebody. So what we need to do at this point is to start with Rebecca and give her a term. Jerry.
Well, I just questions first, because I don't really understand this, how that really works. I mean, are we able to just set a term? I mean, so.
Well, it
one or
would be,
2
it would be
years,
these,
or-
it would be these dates.
Okay, all right, so like the vacant spots is what we'd be looking
Right,
at,
we
right?
need to
So,
fill- yeah.
well, that looks pretty, okay. That answers.
Ma'am.
I don't mind where council puts me, but I will just say, I don't plan on being on the EDC for any lengthy period of time whatsoever. I kind of expected to maybe be on of it tonight, but that didn't happen. So and that's okay. That's really okay. So I just want to say that wherever you plug me is just fine.
In a case like that, why don't you as a council assign Rebecca that May 31st of 2021, that's the shortest term we
That's what I
have.
was thinking.
Fine.
So. Do we need a motion?
I think you could just do one
Let's
motion. for
get all three assigned and then
Okay,
do
well,
one
yeah,
motion.
because-
The other two would go to the other.
The
And do
rest
all
of it
together.
would be
Yeah.
2022,
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, 3/31 of 2022 would be the other
All
two.
right.
Yes, Jerry.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like
Sir.
to appoint Rebecca Gibson to the position that would expire 5/31/2021.
Is it 5/31 or 5/1?
Ma'am.
5/31.
Was it 5/31? Okay.
5/31 of 2021.
I'd also like to appoint Laura Lasoya and Jerry Stevens until March 31st, 2022.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you, council. All right, item 5 is the workshop. Discuss the budget for the fiscal year 2021. Yes, ma'am.
Deanne is also going through
Well,
3/31?
the question was, Deanna was already holding the seat through 5/31 of 2021.
Okay, she's still on there
Yes, ma'am.
from prayer.
Well, she was appointed and then she was removed and then reappointed, but since she's already in that seat,
There was no choices for that. Is that correct?
no.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the workshop. All right, ma'am, you want to explain the new format and how much better it is, in my opinion?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we reconverted some of these numbers and the categories to where I think that they,
Excuse me, Rosie, did you get a new copy of the new budget?
No, I did not. That's what I was looking for. I don't have my name. Go ahead.
so we switched up some of the GL codes and the categories to where I think that it makes a little bit more sense and it's easier to read. And
About the other.
Keep going, Amber.
okay, so if you'll turn to page 3, there's still the personnel, and then there's education, materials and supplies, computer and office equipment, miscellaneous and other. So there, we've added more categories, and I think it's easier to read and it's more organized. So.
And the numbers have not really changed, council, it's just the format that has changed, so I think we got almost through all of the general fund last time.
All of the history for the GL code went with them. So if we switched it from one GL code to the new GL code, all of that history went with it. So we still have all of everything that we back to 2015. So.
As I recall, and you guys correct me if you remember something different, but we were somewhere around parks. I don't know if we got to seasonal. Didn't we cover the code enforcement?
Yeah. And I thought but yes, we could start at parks, I thought we'd already done parks.
We may have.
Well, we can still start at parks, I thought we were
Okay.
streets, actually. You want to start with page 20?
You guys remember anything different? That sound okay?
That's what I think we were, when we get through to the city. I think that
Actually, it's page 19, I did.
I have a question. I think it should be fine right now.
Sure.
I have a question, if that's okay. And
Sure.
This is due to my lack of experience with government budgets. I'm used to seeing one, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm really asking, how it works with government in it. But I'm used to seeing the difference, what we would have called percent profit dollars, and also total number. In other words, the delta between expenditures and revenues, or referred to also as P&L. How do you look at that?
Okay, your goal with a government budget is to spend the funds you have to spend for the benefit of your community. So you're not actually looking at a P&L, so to speak. Now, you've got to cover all of your expenses with whatever your revenue is. And in this case, at the end of the general fund, which right now, what page is it?
It is
the general
on
fund.
page 26.
26, okay.
Yes.
Right now at 26, we're looking at $44,180 to the good in the general fund, which we would then put into a council
No, that's-
contingency fund.
No, that's
Tell me that
We're
again,
short.
because I didn't find that number.
Oh, we're under?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we'll have to
Repeat that,
rearrange
please.
some of these numbers.
Would you repeat that, please?
Okay, look at your 44,180, the very bottom line on page 26.
I got you.
Okay. This proposed budget at this point is $44,180 in the hole, which means we've got to rearrange some stuff. At the current year, however, on the year-to-date actual, the general fund is running $133,723 to the good as of August 31st.
Okay. So you don't get like a balance sheet.
No. You
So
really
you
don't.
kind of have to take the numbers. put
And
them
your
together
virtual, yeah,
yourself.
your budget versus your expenses is your P and L.
And the revenue, so what, you just,
The
end
total
of
for
the
the
revenue
revenue
side.
is on page 2.
Page 2.
Yes. And
Basically, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
basically you have to take those numbers yourself if you want to look at it, right?
You do what with the numbers?
You would actually have to take,
From page 2
right,
to page 26.
Right.
Yeah.
you have to do that.
so
Isn't that
the,
something that could easily be programmed or do you folks not find it necessary?
It's really not
I think
necessary,
it's
Jerry,
just
because
right here.
we spend what we have. And if it comes to the end of some place and we have to cut a program or we have to do something else because our revenues aren't matching our projections, then that's how we operate.
so if you look on page 2, the projected or requested budget in revenue is $1,542 and 42,931. And then if you look on the page 26 where it has the total expenditures, it's $1,587,111. So that's the difference of the 44,180.
Okay. It's there, but it's not where I would have expected. Once again, I'm not saying that's wrong, that's the way y'all do it, but that's just not the way you see them. laid out.
Government accounting is a little bit different. And we've had 3 unqualified audits based on our budget. And I think that that's a
Well,
good thing.
and once again, I'm used to seeing a department, their revenue, and then their expenditures.
But that's not the way it works. We've got a utility fund for all the,
Utility.
for all of our utility bills, that goes in there, or garbage bills, that goes in there. The only thing that funds the general fund, which has parks and streets and all of that, is our sales revenue, sales tax revenue, our property tax revenue, all of these things,
All the revenues.
all the stuff on page 1 and 2. So it's actually like 2 different businesses under one.
It's just getting used to a different.
I know, it's just not corporate America though. It's just a different way of looking at it. You're not looking to make money, you're looking not to lose money.
Okay, that helps, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
We back to 20.
Ma'am.
Are we back to page 20 now?
I think so. 19,
So
actually.
where are these,
19?
where are the cuts gonna come from? Have you guys had
Well,
time
we
to think
have
about
cut
that?
some already. Other things you can also do is you can do a maintenance fee transfer basically to where you could balance it from the utility side to your general side also. So we have several ways to look at it and, depending on what council approves, we can go back and start cutting more. Like you say, well, absolutely, you're gonna have to take $500 out of whatever line item. We'll take that, start cutting back, and then adjust it a little bit up and down to see where we can make it work.
This entire packet is just general funds, though, correct? Oh, it's not, it is
No,
utility
no,
also.
utility too.
Okay. We just hadn't gotten to that.
We also have, what's the balance from the 1920 budget in the general fund? It's about 29,000, isn't it?
The remaining, the surplus? I believe so. I can go get that.
I think that's in one of the documents. Anyway, one thing that we can do, council, is we can take the leftover funds because we came in under budget in the general fund last year. We can transfer those funds over into this year's budget to make the budget balance on the general fund side.
Instead of taking it from utility.
Well, it's more, technically you can't take it from utility. That's part of the problem.
Well, I know,
You don't have
I've
it there.
worked for a city before that actually, the utility side paid the general side a management fee.
Yeah.
things like that
Yeah.
to where we could do it that way.
Right.
That was something that Jay and I talked about. I call it a franchise fee from utility to city, but it would be great if we could set a future, or each budget for that matter, a percentage of the revenue on the utility side, because the utility side is running well.
It's 149,000 in the good.
Wouldn't we want to be tossing that into the capital improvement
Right,
fund that we have set
Yeah.
aside for
I would,
wastewater?
Well, that's kind of, it's difficult to do that too. You've got to move it into the general fund and
And
move it
then
into
put it there?
CIP.
Okay.
I mean, it can be done, definitely, it
Well,
can be done.
I guess I'm just saying, if we have that much of a surplus on the utility side, I would prefer to see it coming into the general fund for that purpose specifically, and not just to, well, I mean, I'd rather see us make some budget cuts if possible, but, I'll be, I got this late last night and I worked all day, so I have not reviewed the remainder, everything since what we covered last time. And I don't mind just going through it page by page if that's what y'all want to do, but I mean, I like to have some time to really review it.
yeah, and I didn't receive this version,
Okay.
so,
Well, in a case like that, unless you have specific questions about the budget, I'm gonna explain some general things to you that go on in the budget. Don, I know you've heard this 1,000 times, and Rebecca, you've heard it like 600, but the excess funds in utility, we would put in, whatever they may be, we would put them into a council contingency fund in order to balance the budget. And then once the budget is approved, then we would move it over from that contingency fund into wherever we're gonna move it. So it's not like we can take it, I would not take it from, I would not have an unbalanced budget, so that's what I'm trying. My big deal is I want the budget balanced. I want it 0 and 0 on both sides. And not everybody agrees with me, but I think that it would behoove us to do that. And I don't know where we would cut. I don't know what we would do. One thing that will make a difference is that on the 17th, we'll be looking at the desk audit in executive session, making some decisions then about who's going to be salaried and who's going to be hourly. That could possibly cut down some overtime here and there. We'll consider the 2% merit increase at the same time. So I think once we get the salaries tied down, then we can go hard to work on cutting this budget where we need to cut it. Yes, Jerry.
did we, seems like we have the question, maybe even I have a question as far as how much that overtime is going to say this particular position.
They don't track it that way. Jay, you want to explain to
But
him how
you
to
We
could-
have it
do it?
broke down.
You could break that out though, I would think, right?
I thought you had.
Does anybody else see importance? of seeing
Yeah.
that?
I'd go ahead and give it. Yeah. I mean, this is not for a total year, but here's one.
I have all
Okay.
everybody's.
And if I may say, Jay, I don't need it this second. I would just as soon give you time to actually put it together and we know for sure that those numbers are correct. And then get it to us
Could we have it next on the 17th or for you
or before.
prior to review?
I think
But
she's
I would
not
like
gonna
to-
hand it to you.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
Okay, well, if you got it and you know that those numbers are accurate.
Well, I'd like to not discuss it tonight, though, if that's okay with council.
No, we discussed it, but I'd like to have this.
So it's broken down by individual?
This is what, you've already gotten a copy of it.
Cool.
Give you another one, but, yeah, this is.
Any, what I would call outliers, where it's gonna look like, maybe I'll spot one real quick, where it's gonna look like, this one person has got a tremendous amount. You may want to address, because that'll be a question I would have. You may want to, in advance, address anything like that. Where, let me see real quick. I'll give an example. Yeah, like, say, Public Works at 6,700. And I see that most of the rest of them are running 1,000, 1,800, you know, in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. I'd like to know if there's an explanation as to why so much when you have an outlier that far out.
Sure. I
And
mean, you
all
only
that can be
discuss,
explained
you want to do that in
previously.
executive session, don't you? You have to, it's personnel.
So is that something, that- I know we don't want to get into discussing this.
No, we will,
So is
when
that
we,
something we
on
can
the
set up
17th, we'll have an executive session to discuss personnel.
Good enough.
Said a lot of
Very
things right there.
Jerry, if you'll stop by, I'll try to
Okay.
smooth it out where the mud's a little bit clearer.
Okay. You know what I'm looking at. Sure. Thanks.
All righty then.
May I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
I'm on page 27. We have the prior year balance forward in the hotel motel tax fund. Where did it go?
It didn't go anywhere. It's still there.
It is.
But
Okay.
just so you know that hot tax funds do not go into the disposable revenue of
know
the
that.
city.
Very
So even if we moved that
specific ways.
33,000 over, it wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah, I do know that.
And
And I
we'll
was
find
just
out
curious.
whatever the actual number is this year. Put it in there. Okay, make a note.
And we don't have any scheduled, wait, that's just revenue, I'm sorry. Is there a side, oh wait, there it is. Expenditures for the hotel. Now I'm on 28, so I'm looking at the expenditure side of the hot fund.
Mhm.
So we have, under computer and office equipment, we have these promotional events budgeted for. And current budget year to date. So things that are not paid out yet.
Well, first off, it
And-
shouldn't be computer office.
And yeah. And then maybe some things that have been, will not be paid out due to circumstances. But that's a place where we could also, well, find a creative way to, because they have real strict requirements on how that money can be spent. So it might be worth for a future project to find something creative and good to do with that money.
So, would you agree that it would be good to know why some of this hasn't been used?
Yes, because the events were canceled because
Well, I
of
know,
COVID.
I can assume that.
So they can't apply for it if there's not been an event. It's a post-event payout.
Okay, yeah, all right, that makes sense.
That doesn't
But-
answer for all of them though.
No,
Right.
and that's what I was
So
gonna
like,
say too. So, yeah, I would like to see an explanation for any of those. You know, it's not obvious.
Well, that's all they are. I mean,
no
that's,
ma'am.
It's a
No.
reimbursement
Uh-uh.
after
And-
the.
well, we didn't have
I know
Riverfest.
years almost
Okay,
over and most of
BBA,
that
Cowboys on
should-
Main.
most of our events have already been, there you go.
The Cowboys on Main.
Right.
Yeah. What are we waiting for to pay that?
For invoices or, and amounts.
Has anybody reached out to the BBA?
And looking at the previous year, I know I was new then, but I didn't think that they had that much for 18-19. I thought we basically gave them the same amount. So I'm questioning that number.
we're
I
back-
thought we.
We'll get back
budgeted-
to it, Jerry. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because we don't have it the backup behind us right now.
Yeah,
I can find the minutes.
But you see what I'm talking about.
Right. Well, there's 33,000 for Riverfest, which didn't get paid out because we didn't have a Riverfest. Labor Day, I don't know. McGrody's not going to be open, so we won't be paying that out. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to comment, Jerry, I know you're looking at the previous year's budget.
Right.
The city at one point had a contract with the VBA and gave them $20,000 every year
Okay.
to operate with. And so a few years back, we revised how we had that set up and started distributing funds to other organizations and events for promotional.
Okay, so say that 10,934 for the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like at 5,000
The
for that.
previous
That's
year.
right, wasn't it? No? Or you don't remember?
No, I mean, I'm just
Not
saying
that
that
I
what's
probably
here.
isn't even relevant at this point, but I'm just questioning that number because I saw it and I thought the amount we approved for the budget for this year was the same as the previous year. No?
I don't
It
know,
wasn't?
Sherry. That was way back in October. I'll have to get out my minutes and look at it.
And like I say, that doesn't matter, whatever was spent, but I was just questioning the accuracy of those numbers, I guess.
Well, can we make a note and get back to that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All these people that had applied for the money, they have to come in and fill out a post-event application with copies of their receipts showing they've already paid these out. The ones that have been paid, the Wranglers and Pro Rodeo, they're the only people who have come in and filled out those post-event applications with the receipts in order to get those funds. They know the city awarded the money. They haven't come in and filled it out. We don't typically follow them around and tell them, hey, come do this, come do this. I mean, they know they're business people. Y'all granted the money. They haven't come in and filled out the applications and provided the receipts.
Okay,
So it's really on them at this point.
gotcha. Thank you.
Right.
Ready to move on?
Mhm.
Since y'all really want to keep looking at this, rather than us hitting it one page at a time and taking questions one at a time, could you take time to look at this? We'll be addressing it again on the 10th. That's a week from today, after our budget public hearing. And you should be prepared with your questions then. We will not have the desk audits back by then, so I couldn't go ahead and we can't go into personnel that night. So we'll just take it from there if that's good with everybody. Okay. One thing I will tell you, we now have tied down a number for the engineering on the street project for year one. So we'll be able to go and budget out that 500,000 now that we know where we are. And then that'll also give us a number to shoot for when we go to bid. Because I asked Derek, stick with the 441, and that includes the engineering fee. So we'll be looking at about almost 400,000 for construction for year one. Well, we've got it funded though. We're good to go.
That's great.
Yes, Suzanne. Clarissa said she may have those to us. If she has them to us by Monday, we can always add them to the 10th, the desk audits. If not, it'll be the 17th.
Okay, if we have them by Monday, but no later than Monday.
Right.
So there you go, council. We may have a special meeting to discuss personnel on the 10th. All right then. Any further questions on the budget or suggestions or? Okay. Item 6, requests and announcements. Item A, request from council for item on future agendas. We're going to be looking at 2 resolutions on the 17th to move forward with the wastewater treatment plant project, the grant. What else, Jay?
We're gonna be bringing something to council in regards to as far as the possibility of using them for park renovations, things like that.
All that,
Kent Meyer, City of Fredericksburg has presented this TML, they're gonna take it to legislation this year. And they're wanting cities all around to support it. And, if it goes through, it'll give us another option for some funding on things like that, as far as park projects, anything to tie a park into tourism. So maybe something council wants to consider.
That, I don't think anything else specific coming up on the 17th. You know of anything, Jill?
We've got a lot of documents that we had to do for that grant, so we'll have probably 5 or 6 things that we had to kind of duplicate that go along with the survey that we're doing right now with all the systems. So those are all mandatory things we have to get approved on that meeting for that application that's going in.
So we're
So
gonna have
you'll
a
see
pretty
a lot
busy,
of legal words on there with all these things, so.
we're gonna have a pretty busy agenda, but it might be well if we can get those tests started by Monday and not have to spend
Yeah.
that extra time, because also after our workshop and our public hearing, EDC is gonna have a special meeting to discuss our budget the second time.
Yeah. Healy and Ellison have been working on that survey, calling all the citizens to kind of get us that funding. And they've done way better than we did a few years back. When we did.
Yeah.
They're making really good contacts with people. I don't know if it's because they're calling from the city phone or they're younger and nicer. I'm really not sure, but they've had a lot of really good contacts and people are answering the questions as to where when we did it, they were very, taking
Fine,
back
wasn't it?
the information. So I don't know what to do with it, but I think they only need like 20 more people to answer the phone and we'll be done with that.
I think we handed that one over to Rebecca years ago.
I did that.
I did it too with you.
And I had done it a couple years before too.
Yeah.
You did it in 16.
It's not that easy.
No, it's
But-
kind of awful.
Yeah. So we put the youngins on it.
What'd you say it was? I said it was kind of awful, actually. I mean, it's difficult.
Okay, anything further, council? Yes, Jerry.
Yeah, agenda items. Are we on that?
Sure.
Future agenda?
Yep.
I have had requests from citizens. that We discussed putting something in place for a burn ban for the city,
For what?
a burn ban.
The city, you do know that the city's burn ban coincides with the county's burn ban.
Is that like,
It's in the ordinance,
no,
yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
What we may look at instituting would be to have gotta have a covered container or, screen on it or something like that. We may look at those sorts of options, but yes, our burn ban coincides with the county.
Okay, very good. And could I request an update on the Texas Dot Road project?
Which one?
What I call the road project, our project.
The
Yeah.
signs?
Signs, the lights,
That'll
the
be,
next stages that
Well,
we had
The
already
signs
approved.
are supposedly completed and on their way now.
okay,
They said
time
they're
out.
already-
I know about
We're
that.
in future agenda items
Right.
here, so we get an update at the next meeting, please, of the,
Yeah, on the rest of it,
Status.
we'll talk between now and then.
Next meeting, we'll have something.
Okay. Sounds good.
what else, Jerry?
And I would like to, I'm not sure how to word this as far as for the agenda item itself, but we're at jail. Maybe give me some help here.
What is it?
The area up on Rue Hill that we've discussed and the complications that you came across as far as the road going up to that area.
Okay, I think we've got a general idea. We'll get
Yeah.
some wording together.
There you go. Okay. And one last request.
Go ahead.
for Agenda item. Discuss and possible action to appoint city council member to replace vacant city council seat.
Well, we have to decide first whether we're going to
Right. That's what I really meant.
leave it vacant or.
Right.
Yeah. Jill, on that matter, do we still have just one application?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But I haven't put it in the paper or anything else like that.
Oh, we have got it out there. We did the call for applicants, right?
Right.
Okay. What else?
Anything else?
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second that.
Discussion? All in favor? None opposed? 6:49.